Welcome to episode 4 of the Runners Podcast, Indianapolis 500 Extra, covering Fast Friday on Saturday because I was busy wasting my time in the iRacing Indianapolis 500, but that's besides the point.
And we were over here actually barbecuing in a building.
Yeah, that happened.
In a building. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, we were in a garage. Like, it was cool.
Hear that familiar voice?
Inside.
Hear that familiar voice? Kyle's back. He's
He's
not
awake.
sleeping. He's not mowing the lawn. He's actually in Indianapolis.
I was mowing the lawn,
Yeah.
right?
Anyway, let's just jump right in because these are supposed to be short and to the point. Marco Andretti was the fastest of the day with an average lap speed of 231.802. That was, of course, in the tow.
Once again, it was set in the morning session as well.
Yeah. Who'd you say the fastest non-tow lap was from?
Will Power at a 2:29.
He finished fourth. He finished fifth, including the tow speeds by himself. So pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And Roger Penske swept the top three.
In terms of no tow speeds, yeah.
Yes. However, James Davidson was the slowest in no tow, and ironically, he also had the first major accident of the month. And they are now not threatening, but it is being rumored that he will not qualify tomorrow because of the damage to the car.
Also, for people that didn't even know, James Davison did wreck today.
Yeah, he did. So why don't we talk about that quickly? Because he lost the back end in turn 2. It just looks like he ran a little bit too low.
Well, it didn't even. It was weird because it normally crashes like that. What we see on Fast Friday, it's where it's really just an overcorrection where the back end comes out and they just kill it. It didn't even look like that. He just flat lost the car and could not do a thing about it.
Yeah, and he ended up just spinning out, doing a complete pirouette, hitting the wall. Luckily, he didn't really get a lot of air, which is something that it was very similar.
He got some air.
Yeah, some. I mean, obviously he did get some air, but compared to what we would have seen back in 2015, it was a very similar hit to what we saw back in 2015, where the cars would hit the wall and then just go back flipping and having fun being airplanes. We didn't see that today, which was nice to see. The cars overall still seeming to be pretty grounded when it comes to high-speed crashes. Obviously, though, that was only the first one of the month, and we will likely see some more tomorrow. I don't know. Or today, because it's Saturday, qualifying. Hey, you know what? I can't even think anymore. Next thing I just want to quickly go over, Kyle Kaiser had the most laps of the day, 62 laps completed for Juncos.
Rightly so. Those guys need to put as many laps as they could so they could have the best of chances possible not to get bumped.
Yeah, it's the small teams like that where they really had to put their work forward today. Bourdais was quick again on Fast Friday. We were talking earlier. Now, granted, of course, that's with a tow as well. I don't know where he was without a tow or where any of the Dale Coyne cars were without
fourth.
a tow. He was fourth without a tow? All right,
Yep.
Well, that's actually even more impressive because earlier in the week we were talking about how slow they were. He was down 30-something a couple days ago, and just like last year, kind of pulling something out of the bag on Fast Friday. So maybe another contender for qualifying tomorrow. We'll see.
One thing to note was there was not that many laps turned today overall because of the weather conditions. You would have thought were more ideal, but there was still a pretty heavy wind that was pushing them into turn 1. Towards the end, in the last 15 minutes of the day, there was not a single car that ran. Also, a quick shout to Robbie Fast for giving us a very awesome go-kart ride back to our cars. Scott Dixon spotter, man.
Mm-hmm.
We also heard from Robbie Fast that we asked him about Dixon because Dixon today actually was sick. He had a headache this morning, and they did probably a good 10 laps. And I told him it's impressive that Dixon only did about 10 laps, and they ran in the 228s. And he ran, 228s, and I told him, we thought Dixon probably have a good chance at the front row. And he doesn't believe they have a shot at the front row. I don't know if this is like the team, not trying to get too cocky or what. But
they've said
it's interesting that they think Hondas could be up there, but they definitely have their eyes on the Chevys and the Penske.
They've said all month, though, that they were not going to be fast, but yet Dixon at the Grand Prix managed to finish second, and then he also finished second to Marco a couple days ago in practice. So they're kind of underhyping themselves.
one of the last things to go over here today. Yesterday, or 2 days ago now, again, continue to confuse myself, Kevin got an interview with Jay Howard, and today, or yesterday, whatever way you want to look at this whole thing now, Kevin got another interview, this time with Spencer Pigot, who was 13th at the end of the day.
And if you can't hear in the end, try to listen for me yelling air spigot in the end. Please do it.
I didn't even know that, but here you go. Here's Kevin and Spencer Pigot.
Verizon IndyCar Series driver Spencer Pigot, who is driving for his first full season with Ed Carpenter Racing. So I got to ask, how does the car transfer over from the Chevy Aero kit from last year?
Yeah, it's obviously a lot different. I mean, first and foremost, they look a lot cooler in my opinion, but the way they feel is for sure a little bit different. It's got less grip, less downforce, pretty much at every track. But this place in particular is fairly similar because of the speedway configuration. But overall they're just a little bit harder to drive. They move around a little bit more, but it's a good challenge.
Okay, so we've heard a lot of drivers complain about the push in turns 1 and turn 3. How bad of an issue is that from your end?
Yeah, it's not easy, especially behind other cars. The front wing doesn't seem to be, super efficient, not working that well in dirty air. So it is an issue that I think everyone's facing, and hopefully we can get a handle on it better than the rest.
And we've also heard certain drivers talk about how there's a lot of drag with the side pods on the car. Have you noticed that issue?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's necessarily an issue. It definitely, the cars suck up very quickly in the straightaway, so they're producing a pretty big hole in the air. So, the draft is really big on the straights, but in the corners, then it becomes more difficult because the front wing doesn't seem to be working as well. So it's kind of, if it could be a little bit less on the straight and a little bit better in the corners, I think it'd be a bit easier, but it is what it is.
And also, we've also heard about how difficult it is to pass cars, especially on the straightaways. How bad really is it from your point of view?
Yeah, it's all about getting the runs out of 2 and 4. If you can stay in it and not have to lift for understeer, then you have a good shot at getting a pass done. But it just gets to be so difficult when you get close that a lot of guys are having to lift, and that kind of just stalls your momentum.
And you are with a really good team who is very notorious for being very good in qualifying. So obviously you probably feel very confident heading into qualifying weekend where there is actually bumping this year.
Yeah, for sure. I think we've all been fast today on the no-toe list, which is what we're really working on. I think we're all in the top 7 or 8, so it's nice to have the inherent speed in the car, and hopefully we can all make it to the Fast 9 shootout. And
you're also running in IMSA WeatherTech Series with Mazda on a endurance championship race. So what's it like working with the Yost Racing guys?
Yeah, Mazda Team Yost has been great this year. It's definitely a big step up from previous years, just in terms of pace and the way that we're racing. We've had a lot of good speed. The results have been tough to come by, but we have all the ingredients to hopefully get up there again. And I only have 2 more races with them at Watkins Glen and Petite, and excited for it. And I know that we're going to be strong.
And one last question from the Grand Prix. I think you know where this is going. What was it like to go completely airborne in the car?
Yeah, it didn't feel great on landing. Actually, time in the air wasn't too bad. Just when I came back down to earth, it hurt a little bit and, kind of ruined our race, unfortunately. So it was just an incident where Takuma and I kind of entered the chicane at the same time, and there's obviously not room for 2 through there. I tried to miss the curb and didn't, and it's disappointing because I thought we had a fast car.
But the recovery in the race is pretty good. So that was Spencer Pigot. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we already kind of touched on this in the last full Rain Race podcast episode, qualifying predictions. But now that we've seen quite a few days of practice, where do you stand? Do you change your predictions for who's getting bumped tomorrow? Do you change your predictions for who's going to be fast? Let's start off with Kyle here.
My pick for Bourdais to be fast, I'm going to keep with my pick. He's not been the quickest in testing, but obviously you take these practice results with a grain of salt. And I lost a little bit of confidence during the week, but talking to Robbie Fast and him saying that Bourdais is probably going to be quick, I can kind of give myself a little bit of confidence. Being bumped, a lot of people think Davidson's not going to
Even show.
They think he's not even going to show. But a cool thing I just read on Twitter, Bob Lazier poked his head into the Bird camp and said that he's got a car a couple blocks away and he'll offer them any parts that they need. I think the story of the month is going to be Bird hauling this thing back together and qualifying. Even though they were on the bubble at the beginning, I think rallying back like this and getting in the show is probably what they're going to do. I think that'll be the story of the month. So I'm probably not going to say Mateus Lace gets bumped. I think Tony Kanaan helped that team set up really good. So we'll see. Pip and Man's definitely on the bubble. I think we probably got a good 6-7 cars are on the bubble. One last thing is the Rahal guys are struggling. Obviously, as a Rahal fan, I'm paying attention to this. I spoke to Graham today, and he is not happy. The fastest they could put up today is about 225, and I think you're probably going to need a 225 or 226 to get yourself into the show. So anybody in that range today on those qualifying sims and no toe speeds, you look at them, those guys are going to be the guys in the bubble. So I could see a good 6 to 7 guys out there.
Kevin, you're up next. Where do you stand after the week of practice?
Okay, well, historically, cars that have crashed on Fast Friday really have not done that well on qualifying day unless they are a major team like Andretti or Ganassi. So it's going to be a struggle for Davidson. I don't think he's going to make it. The other person I believe that's going to be bumped, and this one, I still think it's going to be Kaiser. He really has not been fast. He really... I seen Ricardo Juncos at the end of Thursday, and he seem to be like shitting his pants with nerves because they just can't seem to find anything. They just can't seem to find anything, and that's concerning.
All right, well, I said Rossi for the pole, and I think that's pretty comforting to stay around that prediction. The Andretti Armada seems strong as always at IMS. And for who I said would get bumped.
You said Kaiser.
And who was the other one?
I don't know.
I can't remember, honestly. Yeah, I think Kaiser's still on the line. I mean, that'll be tricky. Well, you got to remember is that if Davidson's a no-show tomorrow, you could just have somebody simply bin the car completely, like Bourdais did last year, although he got injured in the process, so maybe a little bit less than that. And that's it. They're out. So we could see somebody who's been fast all week long all of a sudden not even make it in. And then, buy an entry in if you're Andretti Autosport, buy one off AJ Foyt. But that's just for historical purposes here. I don't know. I think, if I'm being honest, I have a gut feeling that we're going to see that tomorrow, that we're going to see a surprise person get bumped out. And if Davidson does show up, I still think we're going to have one of them be interesting. I
think Davidson can show up. Here's why. Yeah. When we saw the tub, that if they didn't tub that car, if there's not engine damage, anything infrastructurally, that car, if you watch the crash, the thing that worries me is that thing turned around like a dart and hit nose first. It didn't hit the side panels. Didn't hit those side structures. I think that car is repairable if it's just suspension damage on the side and such.
The worst thing that was damaged was the gearbox.
Yeah, that's what worries me. But then again, that is out of the AJ Foyt camp, and they do have spares. I still think Davidson's going to make it. When the crash happened, they had a good 20 hours or so to get it done. They're probably still working as we speak to get that car going. I don't know. I think that's going to be the story tomorrow. I think we probably will get a surprise bump. Another thing I want to point out that could be interesting is it did rain after practice day, so all the rubber built up today will be gone. So they have morning warm-up to wear that back in. But then again, you see someone go out on a clean track, no rubber, in the morning, try almost bin it. That could happen. Lots to be played out here, and I think that Davidson crash definitely added to another level of drama here this week.
All right, that's going to wrap it up for episode 4 of Indianapolis 500 Extra on the Rain Race podcast. I'm trying to think. We're going to have another one.
We should hopefully have one tomorrow night.
Yes, recapping qualifying. Hope to see you all then.